Hi, this is Chen. Today I'll analyze Sir Alex Ferguson. He's won 38 trophies in 28 years at Manchester United and was listed as one of UEFA's top 10 best coaches in European history. So let's get into it right away. Tactical mastermind. Although Sir Alex Ferguson was no tactical revolutionary, he was great at assembling different tactical options which were specifically prepared to face his opponents. And furthermore, he could use them to play mind games with the teams he faced. For example, against weaker teams, he instructed the players to play on the front foot and told players like Carrick and Scholes to spray the ball around the pitch, with intention to create disorganization in the opponent's defense. But against a big team, he would play a more pragmatic style of football, which is tactically more defensive and takes advantage of counter-attacking situations. An amazing thing about Fergie was that he always knew when the opponent came prepared to counter United's pragmatic style of football, and when he knew, he changed the tactic and commanded the players to play on the front foot and shock his opponents. Sir Alex Ferguson seems like the type of manager that'd be stubborn and conservative to changes, but he wasn't when it came to tactics. Whenever there was a tactical evolution in modern football, he was flexible and adopted changes very quickly. In the 90s, there was an era of football where orthodox wingers were the only option for wide attacking players. They primarily functioned on the same flank as their favoured foot, and their basic objective was to cross the ball to the target man. This changed when inverted wingers proved to be more effective in goal conversion rates. Fergie quickly adopted this tactical trend and incorporated inverted wingers into his game. His tactical flexibility was also proven after Mourinho Chelsea won back-to-back Premier League titles with a defensive strategy. Fergie adopted a similar defensive tactic using a 4-3-3 formation. I personally think that if Ferguson wasn't retired until now, he would still have the flexibility to adapt more recent strategies such as gegenpressing, La Volpiana, and a strategy involving the domination of the half space, as well as the most recent strategy which demands everyone to attack the box in an offensive situation. However, he wasn't always right with his tactical decision. An example of this was shown in the two Champions League finals against Barcelona. At both times, Fergie went for an eye strategy and lost on both occasions. Ferdinand and Rooney talked about this as pundits later on, and they say that even themselves thought the tactical decision was wrong. Fergie also admits that he made a mistake in his biography. Versatility in using players. Sir Alex Ferguson played players in more than one position. Because of this, he was able to overcome circumstances of injuries and international call-ups to win so many games with many different lineups. He sometimes fielded 4 fullbacks and even played Carrick and Fletcher in centre-back position. There were also moments in the match when he put Ferdinand and Vidic up front as well. He emphasized versatility, so he naturally favoured versatile players who could play in different positions. I mean, John O'Shea is a classic example of this. He literally played every position and even played as a goalie once. So it begs the question of how Ferguson was able to win so many games with flexible lineups for so many years. I would argue that it's because he instructed the team precisely what they were going to achieve and what each player's roles were in trying to achieve their objective. Most importantly, and this is the hardest thing to do, he always made sure that each player fulfilled their instructed role. As he mentions in his interviews, tactical battles are important, but it's the players that win you the games in football. Rebuild. Ferguson built 3 legendary teams during his tenure at Manchester United. Unlike Mourinho, who built teams in different football clubs, Fergie rebuilt the team a number of times at United alone, which means that he made some bold decisions. In the 90s, he combined young promising players with big names such as Cantona, Roy Keane, Stam, and Sheringham. In the early 2000s, after losing the title to Arsene Wenger and Mourinho, he took the time as an opportunity to rebuild a squad from the ground. He signed Vidic, Evra, Jisung Park, Van der Sar, Carrick, and Tevez. Also with players such as Rooney and Ronaldo reaching their full potential, a legacy was written in the book of history as they won the famous double in the 07-08 season. You might think that they spent a lot of money on this rebuild, but they were actually in the middle of the table for the amount of transfer fee spent. Control. Sir Alex Ferguson said in one of his interviews that if he could no longer control his rich players, he could no longer be a manager. This is why he was so adamant about keeping his control of the locker room. Speaking of rich players, there's a funny story about Sir Alex Ferguson's salary. In 2010, Wayne Rooney was about to sign a new deal, which offered a big pay rise. Ferguson said to Joel Glazer, who was joint chairman at the time, that he didn't think it was fair that Rooney could get paid twice as much of what Ferguson was earning at the time. Joel Glazer and Ferguson came to a quick agreement to sign a contract which stated that no player would be paid more than Sir Alex Ferguson, alluding to the message that he's the sovereign boss at Manchester United. Anyways, talking about the control, do you remember the infamous incident between Maurizio Sarri and Kepa in the 2019 Carabao Cup? In the last minutes of the match, Kepa looked to have injured himself, so Sarri decided to take him off. A minute later, Kepa was like, no, I'm fine, I can play. And Sarri kept trying to take him off. He was so pissed off and he was like, "Get off the pitch right now!" In the end, Kepa didn't come off and played until the penalty shootout. This went all over the news and things just blew up. I mean, how can you not listen to your manager? If Kepa's boss was Ferguson, he would have got a massive bollocking, and Ferguson would have given him the famous hairdryer treatment right in his face. Sir Alex Ferguson was actually so famous for his hairdryer treatment. At times when he was grilling a player and a different player made eye contact with Ferguson, he would give them a little smirk. So basically, his hairdryer treatments were all calculated to boost players' performances. Anyways, Ferguson was so adamant about keeping his control of the locker room that if any player violated it, he threw them out the window. Roy Keane, in a post-match interview after United's 4-1 loss to Middlesbrough, criticised Ferdinand, Van der Sar, Fletcher and others publicly. Ferguson didn't put up with it and told him to apologise to his teammates in training. And Roy Keane didn't back down from the fight. After this incident, Ferguson had a fortnight to think about how to handle the situation and sold Roy Keane to Celtic. In the press conference, Sir Alex Ferguson recalls the moment and quotes, "I couldn't lose my control in that particular situation, and if I had let it pass and allowed it to happen, I think the players would have viewed me differently." He also threw David Beckham out the team as well, who was a superstar at United at the time. One day during half-time, he blamed Beckham for a second goal they conceded in the match. Ferguson probably wanted to grill him so as to get him fired up for the second half. But on that day, Beckham didn't take it and fired back at Ferguson. Ferguson didn't want to lose his control and showed his anger by kicking a boot which ended up hitting Beckham's face, and things just went out of hand. This saga ended with Beckham moving to Real Madrid. Although Ferguson was somewhat tyrannical, he didn't shout at players all the time. Eric Cantona was a superstar at United in the 90s. He famously kung fu kicked a fan once because he was trash talking Cantona's mother, who was in hospital at the time. Everyone criticized Cantona for losing his head, but Ferguson defended him, knowing that Ferguson will also be blamed for defending Cantona. After this incident, Cantona kept his loyalty to United and Sir Alex Ferguson. In Ferguson's biography, he mentions a strategy to maintain the control over the players. It's to sign the players' contracts so that they all terminate on different dates. This prevents a situation where if the players' contracts all terminate around a similar time, they could group up and say that they're not going to play, not sign a new contract, and all leave at the same time. Teamwork. Ferguson was super enthusiastic about the importance of teamwork. In one of his documentaries, Ferguson said he keeps a picture of a team of labourers who built the Empire State Building, and there were exactly 11 men in that picture. So every time a player came into his room to talk, he would bolster the importance of teamwork to the player. Fergie time. Fergie time refers to the dying minutes of a match in which Ferguson's team wins the game. In the last seconds of the match, Ferguson used to show a watch pointing gesture to the referee, basically putting pressure on the referee to finish the game early when they're winning and give more injury time when they're losing. In one of his last interviews, Ferguson was asked about this, and he said he never knew how long was left on the clock when he was doing it. He just wanted to put pressure on the referee. In Ferguson's last season before retirement, BBC looked up the stats on how much extra injury time was given when Manchester United were losing, and an average of 79 extra seconds were given. Observation. In Ferguson's biography, he quoted, "There's a reason that God gave us 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. It's so you can listen and watch twice as much as you talk. Best of all, listening and watching cost you nothing." He says that observation is the most important attribute required to become a successful manager. He knew that observing players on and off the pitch was very important. This is why he stopped coaching the players and delegated the role to head coaches, and he says it was one of the best decisions that he's made as a manager. After many years of success at United, Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down from the role in 2013 and retired as a Manchester United manager. There's a romantic behind story about why he retired earlier than everyone expected, as he was still successful enough to win the Premier League title the year he retired. He said that his wife needed him after her twin sister died, so he wanted to spend the rest of his life with his wife, who supported Sir Alex Ferguson to become one of the greatest managers of all time. Incidentally, Sir Alex Ferguson that the one person who could control him was his wife. In 2007, she even made him skip 2 pre-season games because they were moving house. He's such a romantic Scottish man. So because of the aforementioned reasons, Sir Alex Ferguson was so successful, and he's basically a godlike figure to Manchester United fans. To forever memorize his greatness, they named a stand after him. A bronze statue was put up outside the stadium, and there's even a street near the stadium called the Sir Alex Ferguson Way. Oh, I forgot to mention his chewing gum too. His chewing speed became so fast when the team was losing. But anyways, the gum he chewed in his last match against West Brom was picked up by a fan and was listed on eBay, and eventually it was sold for £390,000, which just shows how much respect Man United fans have on Sir Alex Ferguson. So that's it for today, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace!